We are 2 days away from fall camp and starting phase four in our program and coming off phase three, which we really had a great summer. And Adam Hall and our seniors have done an excellent job, and it's one of the better summers that I can remember a team having. Uh, Last year we fell short of winning the championship, and that has always been the goal. We won 12 games, which we're proud of, but we play for championships at San Diego State, and we didn't get there. To talk about, opening up in Snapdragon, we are absolutely thrilled to have a home, and we look forward to it. We're also really excited about the 100th season of Aztec football, and to honor the great coaches and players that have come before. And we are excited to honor those people who've been on the Mesa. Uh, as you know, the landscape of college football continues to change. The transfer portal, NIL, and conference realignment are all hot topics, obviously, and all things that affect us on a daily basis. We challenge ourselves to improve every day that we're in the building. The identity of our team matters, and we got to continue to adapt to our personnel and our talent. I think each guy on our team needs to create value, and I think that guys are doing that. I think our classes, the various classes, are doing that. So we're excited. We look forward to starting on Friday out on the practice field and starting our meetings tomorrow.
Thanks, Coach. We'll open up for questions. We'll start with Andre.
Hey, Coach. Today you announced the addition of Donnell Pumphrey to the coaching staff as a grad assistant. Why was it important for the program to add not just a former player, but a legend, a record-setting back, and to the staff? And how can he help the team?
Well, there's no question, and I got to know Pump a little bit in the last couple of years, and he also was doing some high school coaching, and we had our passing tournament, and he was out there on the field coaching the kids and interacting with them. And when Pierre decided to take the leave to Idaho State as a full-time coach, he was the number one guy I thought about. He's going to work with the defense, which I think is awesome. And I think the quality of the man in the experiences that he has had, I think will be really, really great for those guys he's going to work with.
One position you're looking to kind of replace the starter in Greg Bell is running back. Chance Bell talked a lot about in the early summer about adding weight, about 15 to 20 pounds, so he can be stronger when he comes up against bigger defenders. So he can get, potentially carry the ball 15 to 20 times. What have you seen from him so far, and what do you expect from him this season?
Yeah, well, number one, you're talking about a guy who has great leadership and great commitment to this football team, and that's Chance. He has definitely done the things in the weight room, done the things at 6 a.m. out on the field. He's been a real leader. We took him to Media Day for a reason, that he is one of those guys who understands being a leader is not being a friend all the time, and really, really excited about his development.
I know you're looking to replace a lot of starters, but is there one specific position you're most eager to see how the competition plays out in fall camp?
Yeah, that's a good. I would say the running backs, because I think when you look at the quality of the guys, and you look at what Jordan Bird has done over his career, and the one thing we talk about is making sure we're using the guys in the right ways, and the fly sweeps and all that Jordan can give us. I think with Keenan being here and just watching him in the morning runs and seeing his grit, I'm very excited about Braxton because I think he's earned a ton of respect on the guys in this program. I know he's earned my respect because that's the first thing he's got to do as quarterback is get the respect, and you do that from showing up every day, working your tail off every day to be the best that you can be.
Coach, I hope you're doing well. Appreciate you taking some time.
Yeah.
What are the challenges in college football of just a lead up and then a first game, unlike in the NFL where you get the preseason games and you got 4 weeks and then you have to get it right on September 3rd? What type of challenges does that create for coaching staff and the team?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, John. I think the one thing, and that's one reason on the 20th, we're going to go to Snapdragon and really try and go through the whole thing for everybody within the athletic department, but also make it as game-like as we can, and by that time we'll have a really good idea where your depth is, how your team's going to come together, and have a really mock game with all three phases and the mental part of it also. So, yeah, it's different. No question about it. And coaching in the NFL briefly, but it's different. They got a little bit more time. I think it's for us, spring ball is important. We get a little more than they do because they can't touch each other. They can't be a heartbeat against each other. So we get a little bit more in that way. And then I think our guys, what has made this summer pretty special is the leadership in the individual drills that the seniors have participated in, and also they've run those drills.
You mentioned the return of Donnell Pumphrey. What can it mean for a football team? The fact that, he won a pair of Mountain West championships, obviously, at San Diego State in 2015 and 2016. Is that something that he can help with this group in an effort to bring another championship to San Diego State?
Yeah, it's too bad he's not playing, John, but, I don't think there's any doubt about that, his experience and what he's done from here, the NFL level. We also have Quaid Miller, who's an offensive lineman who is kind of volunteering with us and being part of it. And he blocked for Donnell. So to hear their stories with each other is pretty neat. But it's, to have a former Aztec, I'll take as many as we can get.
Lastly, for you, Coach, I know you're a baseball fan. I know you're a Padres fan. What was your reaction to Juan Soto?
Well, I think the Padres went into the transfer portal and did really, really well. I can tell you, we got 7 out of the transfer portal, but they got 4, I think, at the end of the day. So that's pretty impressive.
I know that with UCLA and USC moving into the the Big Ten, San Diego State is being looked at as a replacement to move to the Pac-12. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we love the conference we're in. I think the Mountain West Conference has done as is competitive. At the end of bowl season, what conference got the big trophy? The Mountain West Conference, right? So it tells a little bit about the competitiveness of this conference. Obviously, opportunities come, and we'll see. Obviously, that's above my pay grade, but they will, continue to talk. And my only thing is, let's make sure it's the right things to do for college football and the guys who get out there and play it.
Hey, Brady, good afternoon. Of all the transfer quarterbacks that you have brought through here in the last group of years, is Braxton Burmeister the most advanced, complete transfer quarterback?
I think so. I agree with that statement all the way. And some of it is just in how he handles himself, his demeanor. Lee, I can't tell you in our winter conditioning and the spring and the summer, his grit. I mean, he is a gritty, tough, very athletic in a lot of ways, can extend plays, all those kind of things. I really, he's impressed me, and I feel sometimes I'm a hard guy to impress.
In terms of him, is he a run-first quarterback or going to be a throw-first quarterback? How does this mix work?
Yeah, I think he's more of a throw-first. I think, he's got probably the most athletic ability that we've had in a while, as far as if he does bring the ball down, and if he decides to, move the pocket a little bit or extend plays.
The running back situation, since you don't have heavy-duty guys you've had years gone by, can you create running back by committee based on down, distance, and unique packages for each guy, or is that too complicated for the college game?
No, that's not too complicated. I think for what our offensive staff and Jeff, the big thing is we got to adapt to what we have. Let's just take Jalen Armstead. Say Jalen, he's not going to be your fly sweep guy, but he's going to be your inside zone guy, your counter guy. Same thing with, Chance Bell. He's put some more weight on. He's got good strength to him. Keenan, I can't wait because of some of the things I've seen him do out on the practice field that as we grow as a team, I think that's going to be, Coach Horton, you got to have the right guys in on the right plays. And that's something that as a staff, they're working real hard with.
Just a couple other quick ones, Jimmy, and I'll let them go. In terms of all the transfers, which D1 transfer do you think will play a lot right out of the gate, or is there a couple of them that we're going to have as impact players?
Well, I think Justice Tavai is probably the guy that, he's going to have, I think all of them are going to have some impact. You look at Redmond, you look at Cooper McDonald, Cade Bennett, because of the youth of the offensive line. I think what he does, I think Keenan, I think what he brings, and obviously the quarterback position. So, I'm not a favor of the portal, but I'm a hypocrite because I like what we took out of the portal. And it's really amazing because they've really come in here, all of them, with a great work ethic, and I give that a lot of that to Hall because what Adam Hall does. And, they don't want to frustrate him too much.
And a final question from the injury standpoint. Anybody not good to go when you start this thing on Friday that has to be held out?
The only guy would be Devin Lamp a little bit, and we'll see. His is something we've been dealing with for about 2 months now, and so we'll just see.
In various conversations, I think the offensive line's been the biggest area of interest, concern, however you want to put it. Can you be more specific on exactly? I mean, I think you feel like you have a lot of talented guys, but can you be specific on what do you need to see from them to kind of gain some confidence in the offensive line going forward?
Yeah, and Kirk, I'll have more confidence in them when we get out there on Friday, and I'll have more confidence because of what they've done, from the summer all the way through. I mean, I'm really have been impressed on what they've done in their individual and their different group things and drills that they've done. So I'm very, very excited about where they're at. I think the leadership of Olama and Brandon, has to be something that we got to count on to bring some guys along. But I'm excited about where we're at with them. I think obviously in a couple of weeks we'll know a little bit more. There is competition. I think Josh Simmons has the opportunity to be as good an offensive lineman as I've been around. And That's putting a little pressure, probably publicly, on him right now. But he's a guy who definitely has impressed me.
Is it these guys improving on some technique things, or is it more just getting live game reps? What is it that?
Well, I think I think it starts with your fundamentals and technique, and then it's how fast you're going to play. You got to play fast, so you got to be really, really honed up on your fundamentals and techniques. So that's what I see happening, and then their confidence level. The early part of not spring ball, but fall camp, we're going to do. There'll be a lot of O-line, D-line drills together. Maybe a little bit more than normal. A little bit more inside drill to bring guys along.
Also, with Rise's departure, special teams area there with field goals and punt. What's your level of confidence there with Jack and what he accomplished in the spring?
Yeah, I got a lot of confidence in Jack. He's a guy that, to me, his work ethic and how he comes out every day is pretty neat, pretty special. So I feel really good with him. I think, to see who's going to be that guy. And who else can we use when you look at some of the kickoff game?
So are you still looking at him for all three disciplines? And is he just honing that in the fall camp? And the other guys are playing for backup spots? Or how does that all shake out?
I think there's competition, right, Kirk? I think that. But Jack right now, he'd be the guy that we'd walk out on the field and kick with and punt with. And I think those other guys have also had a pretty good summer. So, putting a little pressure on everybody will be what we'll need to do.
That's a lot on his plate. Is there one area in particular you might think, okay, would it be kickoffs? Would it be something else that
probably
you feel like it's a little too much?
If it was too much, probably kickoffs.
Okay.
That would be the one that I would set to the side.
Okay.
Okay.
A lot of returners. Obviously, you mentioned the portal guys. So there's a lot of experience all around the field. Any other areas in particular that you want to be paying a lot of attention to in fall?
I think from the defensive side, I think the outside guys, I think the corners. Now, they all have some experience. They've all played. I think Dejan Malone, I think he's improved. I think Avenger and Tumlin both give us a lot of competition there. I think there'll be a couple young guys who may make some moves at the safety position, at the warrior position, that could be pretty beneficial to us. I mean, they're talented young guys. Now, do they have the mental withal? Because that's what it comes down to at the end.
Okay. And I want to ask you about this little offbeat. I think 3 of the safeties changed their numbers. What's involved in that? Do they have to come to you and make a case for why they deserve to have a number change? And what do they have to do to pull that off?
Well, they better be contributing, and either in the special teams or offense or defense or whatever. And yes, they have to come see me.
And is there a reason you guys don't give out number 1?
Have we ever given it out?
I think it's been a tradition not to, but
there you go.
Would you ever do it? And is it special?
No, I'm not doing it. Nope.
Is that because do you look at that as being that is pointing at a player himself rather than the team? How do you view that?
Yeah, that's pretty much how I view it. I mean, we're the Aztecs. We got to take care of each other.
Hey, Coach Scott Gross, Sports Director, KYMA Television. Is there one group that you're really competent in that's really strong? And is there another one that is going to take a little time to gel as you get into practice on Friday?
You talking about positionally?
Yes, sir.
Scott? Yeah, I would say this. I would say our running backs, because there's guys who have played some significant snaps. And then D-line, I mean, obviously, we had 5 guys off the D-line, who graduated or went on. And really excited about Cam and his opportunities and all that. But I would say with being able to get Justice Tavai to come and the versatility of Jonah Tavai. Some people, you put that little squatty guy out there over an offensive tackle. We kind of move him out there, but he's 296 pounds and he can really run, and he's hard to block because he's so short, right? Most offensive tackles, right, when they pass protect, they're 6'7", 6'6". He goes right underneath them. But that group, I feel good. Keyshawn Banks has played a lot of football for us. Really excited about him and his senior year, and how he probably had, Scott, the best spring that he's had. So I think the D-line I feel good about, and where we're at there. And the other place, is our linebackers are a pretty good group, and they're a pretty versatile group. Cooper can play down. He can play down for be a defensive end, right? He's got that ability. Dom Oliver, he missed some time because of a knee surgery, but he's 245 pounds, very good athlete, young, obviously. Taking Garrett Fountain and moving him defensive end is probably one of the best moves that we made, besides moving Cam his sophomore year from end down to the nose tackle for us. That probably was one of the best moves that we've made. So I think those two groups, and I think Hunk's done a really good job with the wide receivers. And then you look at Savai Eselu, our tight end coach, and what he has with Aaron Green, Mark Redmond, Jay Rudolph, Gus McGee. I think that group will give us more of a personnel group to do some things offensively with. Scott, that may have been too much. I'm sorry, but that was a little wordy.
That's fine. Fantastic. After last year's finish, and you're coming into this one now, you're picked to place behind Fresno State. Is there a little bit of a chip on your shoulders you guys get into the season? Is that added motivation of look what we did last year, and people still aren't on the bandwagon yet?
Well, yeah. I mean, we can all say we don't care what people think, and the polls and all that. We deserve to be in the polls. We deserve. Our league needs to be. Every coach in our league better vote. If they have a vote, they better vote for the Mountain West Conference teams, because we can compete with anybody, and we have for the last 12 years. So, I feel good about where we're at, but I don't know. I think, it ticks me off, and at the same time, I can tell you how to lose a championship game, because we did it last year, and we did it with 6 defensive penalties, and we can't have that, and personal foul stuff, late hit stuff. That's undisciplined, and that's on me. And I promise you, this team, they'll know how to lose, how we lost that championship.
Coach, touching on Alexander's question a little bit earlier, your thoughts on the college football landscape and how it affects the Aztecs in the Mountain West Conference? You kind of touching into what you just said about getting those votes and being ranked in the polls.
Yeah. To me, it just makes too much sense why we wouldn't have an opportunity. And JD knows more than I do about it. Believe me. My wife asks me every night, have you heard anything? Have you heard anything? No, I haven't heard anything. But sometimes I don't tell her when I do hear things. But it's one of those things. It'd be something that I would think from the president on down, there would be a lot of people would like to see what that Pac-12 idea would be.
What are your thoughts on the way that college football is changing those ginormous conferences of 20 teams?
There's no doubt. And I think in the next, and this is just me, 14 to 18 months, there's going to be some tweaks and different things, maybe different conferences, like you said. I think when the NIL, how is that going to be, more under control? I don't know what to call it, but that. And then, the transfer portal. And I know in our meetings there's been, conversation about it, but for that to get done, I don't know when that's going to happen.
Hey, Brady, going back to the course of your career, ups, downs, wins, losses, getting fired, etc. Is this the toughest 2 years you had because you had to deal with so many off-field things, whether it's being an orphan team on the road for 2 years or just the COVID crisis? I mean, how hard was it for you to do your job, considering everything was swirling around you in the program?
Yeah, well, the only thing I can say, Lee, is we had great support. I mean, from our administration, and it has been unbelievable. And I'm talking about Adela and the campus, across campus, their impact they had with us and our players, and us being able to get some things done that maybe other schools didn't. And JD and what our administration in the athletic department, and I can go back, Cody, our fields guy. I mean, how we had to put 550 dots around our two practice areas because we had to stay away from each other, every 6 feet. I mean, for him to get out there and do that, and so I also got to give a lot of credit to our staff and to the kids. I mean, our players are. You all, I don't know. We all got sick of going up to Carson here in the last year. I think it was a novelty in the first year, But then there's no parents there. There's no crowd. There's no anybody. But for us to be able to, it's been cool. I mean, because of the support, I guess, Lee, that would be the biggest thing. And I can't tell you, how excited we are to be playing in San Diego. I mean, that's going to be cool. So I don't know if I answered that enough, Lee, but I mean, there were so many people involved and so many people cared, and it starts with the players, and how they reacted to the whole thing.
And one other question as it relates to off the field. No cliches, please. So what was your gut reaction with USC and UCLA and what they did in the Pac-10? Stunned, surprised, shocked?
Unbelievable. Whoever kept those secrets, that was the best secret that was kept regarding college football. But do I care? I don't care. I care about the Aztecs and what we're doing.
You talked about the versatility of the linebacking crews. We know kind of the top four guys, but where does Vi Cajo fit into that? And can he kind of step into a prominent role this year?
Yeah, there's no doubt. And Vi is he's what you want on your football team from a mental standpoint of loving the game and playing the game. Vi's only negative is he's had some not off the field, but penalties that happened off the field, late hits and stuff like that. A couple things in the kicking game that he's got to be more disciplined in what he's doing. But I love Vi. I promise you, I love Vi. That's a good group. That whole group, Zyrus. It's Brady's a guy I like a bunch. Trey White, Daryl Masani. I mean, those are all young guys that, Kurt will do a great job of, developing them.
I want to kind of go back to the polls. You were talking about the polls. When Rocky Lawn was here,
Yeah.
one of his biggest complaints was that the Aztecs will often play late at night. And by that time, everyone on the East Coast is asleep or out on a Saturday night and they can't watch the games. How do you think that factors into the poll issue?
Yeah. Well, Elizabeth, there's no question, and thanks for the question, but there's no doubt. My mom just turned 90. She stays up in Dayton, Ohio. My father-in-law just turned 91. They're up in Dayton, Ohio till 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning watching Aztec games. And believe me, that they have an interest, in the game, obviously. But does it affect people not seeing you play? Sure it does, especially those who vote. Half the voters, I'll promise you, they're not making the vote. Their SIDs doing it or whatever. Jamie and I do it together. Mike May and I did it together. And so, I think that's part of, I don't want to call it a problem, but that's part of the problem.
Do you think we'll see a change in the coming years? Maybe more West Coast teams, not just the Aztecs, but even teams like Arizona or Oregon playing during the day on Saturdays?
And here's one thing. We played Boise at 9 o'clock, right? I would love to play a 9 a.m. game or 2 9 a.m. games because, in the Mountain West, to me, it makes some sense. In the Pac-12, to me, it makes some sense. And, the players, they're up conditioning. If you're at Oregon, you're practicing in the morning. So, I mean, and I'm not involved with any of the TV rights and the money and all that. But to me, I think I'll play 3 games a year at 9 a.m. And the other thing, how the MAC took over TV, right? My last year at Ball State, we played Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The only day we didn't play was Sunday. And I'd be all in for that.
Yeah. Speaking of the Pac-12, we already have some teams here at state that are in the Pac-12, men's soccer and so on. Do you think we can compete? I mean, I think we can, but the Pac-12, I think, will be more of a challenge than the Mountain West. But what do you think?
Well, I think if San Diego State is in the Pac-12 and you were a recruit and it was between a couple other cities or San Diego, where would you go?
State.
Okay, there you go.
There you go. And last question for you, Coach. Then I'll let you go. Talk about what it means to you personally, because when I was a freshman coming in, you were the coach in 2010. You left us for a little bit, you came back, and now it's the 100th season of Aztec football, and you have a new stadium. But you talked about what it means to the team and the players and stuff. What does it mean to you personally?
It means a lot. I mean, we loved it here in 2019, 2010. Obviously, we went to Michigan, but we love coaching here. We love the people that we're surrounded with. We have friends outside of football, which, doesn't happen all the time when you're a coach because of the different hours and stuff. But we love San Diego State. We got a ton of respect for the people here at the university, and a ton of respect for, in our creed, it talks about past, present, and future Aztec warriors. You know, there's those guys we care about.